Hey everyone, and welcome to May's TBR Assemble. If you don't know what TBR Assemble is, I'll leave a link up above to my original video, but it is essentially my Avengers-based TBR game. I don't really have anything to sort of tell you about any readathons I'm doing, because I'm not doing any, so I think it's time to just get into the roles in this month's challenge. This month's trip with Gwenpool is taking me to Wakanda, which is the most technologically advanced city in the world, so I'm going to be reading an Afrofuturistic book, and I think for that I am going to be picking the next book in the Binti series. I started rereading the first one a while ago now, and then I never continued on with the series, so what I really want to do this month is continue on with it, so that is what I'm going to be doing. Now with that Gwenpool stuff out of the way, let's get into the role. So today we're going to be starting with a Captain Carter because she's just the one I picked up first. So we're going to start here on 61, which is where we were last time, and the first role is going to be a 3, so that is 1, 2, 3. That is blue, which is for the space stone, so that is sci-fi. Let's fan it out. I'm gonna go this one here, bang in the middle, and that is Coulson, a book by an author I love. My first prompt was Coulson, which is to read a sci-fi book by a author I love, so I'm going for Kessia Lupo's Let's Play Murder. Kessia Lupo is the author of We Are Blood and Thunder and We Are Bound by Stars, which I really enjoyed last year, if I remember rightly, when I read them, and this one is her first sci-fi as far as I know. This one is all about Veronica, who hates VR, and then she gets accidentally sucked into a game, and the only way to get out is to solve the murder mystery of this game, but something is definitely going wrong. The game keeps on glitching, there's someone definitely like hunting them, this kind of thing, and then Veronica has to ask herself if this is part of the game or if there's a real killer here playing by their own rules, and this just sounds like so much fun. I have been meaning to read this one for a while, so very excited to get on and read this one. Role number 2 is a 1, so just cross 1, 2, green. That is the time stone, so we're going for comics, and I'm gonna go to this one. I think it's the first one I put my hands on. Natasha, a TBR jar pick. Okay, good job I got that out this week. So this is the TBR jar. As you can see, it's quite full of stuff, so I'm going to give it a bit of a shake. I don't think that did anything, but I shook it anyway. And let's go down for the bottom one here, so I'm not just constantly picking stuff off the top. And that is a webtoon. Okay, then I've got a couple in mind, so that'll be interesting to read a webtoon this month. My next prompt was Natasha, which was a TBR jar pick, and the TBR jar picked a webtoon for me, which I haven't read since I read Heartstopper last year, so I think this time round what I'm going to do is go for the adaptation of Victoria Lee's The Fever King. I cannot quite remember what this one's about, but this one has been on my webtoon sort of watch later list for a very long time now, so it's probably about time I actually read it. Role number 3 is a 2, so 1, 2, that is the Mind Stone, so that is Own Voices. So this one's a bit thicker than all of the others. I don't seem to land on this one that much, and I'm going to go over this side I think this time. Let's switch it up. Cersei, start a new series. I can definitely do that. My next prompt was Cersei, which is to read a Own Voices book that is the start of a new series. So I'm going for So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. And this one, it says that Farron can control the power of the gods. And then 5 years ago, she used her divine powers to liberate her island from its enemies. And now she's all powered up and she's got no one to fight. Now, when she's forced to attend an international peace summit, she expects to just perform tricks and go home. But what she doesn't expect is for her older sister to bond with an enemy dragon, or the gods to claim that the only way to break this bond is to kill her sister. So our main character Farron is desperate to try to find another solution, and it takes her down a dark path, while her sister Ilara discovers the shocking secrets at the heart of the Langley Empire, and both must face difficult choices that will shape each other's lives as well as the fate of their world. And I have heard amazing things about this book. I've been wanting to read it for a while now. It was one of my most anticipated releases of January, and now that I own it, I've been desperate to read it, so now is the perfect opportunity because the prompt definitely works for this book. I cannot wait to read it. Role number 4 is a 1, so we're going to go across 1, so that is the reality stone, so this is retellings. I'm going to go for this one here, and that is Jane Foster, a badass female character. I think I know exactly what I'm going to read for that. My next prompt was Jane Foster, which is to read a badass female character-led retelling. So I'm going for The Bone Spindle by Leslie Vedder. And this one is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. And if I remember rightly, it's sapphic. And that's all I really know. That's all I really want to know. I've heard people absolutely raving about this book, things like this. And I'm now really, really intrigued by it. Roll number 5. Is a 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That is another sci-fi. Okay then, hope my last one's going to be fantasy, but the camera does not fall over. My camera is attempting to fall over. I've just done a quick adjustment of it, but it's... I'm just going to hold it down with my knee. Anyway, so let's pick out this one here and not blame our tools, and I'm going to go for this one. I have a hand on it first. Icarus, a book from the priority list. And then let's go for the final roll, and that is a 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orange, which is the Soul Stone, which is fan fiction. Brilliant. And then my final 2 prompts were fanfic and also Icarus, which is to read a sci-fi book off my priority list. And it turns out I only had one more sci-fi book on my list, and that was The Knife of Letting Go. This is a dystopian book all about Prentice Town, which is a town unlike any other, where everyone can hear everybody else's thoughts in a constant, overwhelming, never-ending noise. There's no privacy, there is no secrets, this kind of thing, until our main character, Todd, unexpectedly stumbles across a spot of complete silence, which is supposed to be impossible. I've heard people absolutely raving about this book. I have never read it before, and I'm now really, really excited to read it. And to be honest, it's a bit of a chunker. I'm a little bit scared of it, but at the same time, very excited to give it a go. And that's the end of the TBR Assemble prompts, but there are also 2 other books I want to read as well if I get time. The first one is Kings of the Wild. This one is by Nicholas Eames, and this one is all about a group of men who used to be mercenaries, but they've all sort of retired now, until one day one of them comes along and says, my daughter has been kidnapped, we need to all get back together again to save her. I've heard amazing things about this one. This one is actually going to be part of my next Waypoint Books Full Moon subscription box reading vlog, so really excited to give this one a go. And then if I also don't get time to read this at the end of April, I will also be reading Mr. Stoker and the Vampires of the Lyceum by Matthew Gibson, and this one is all about London in 1888. Jack the Ripper is roaming the streets, and then a scream rings out from beneath the stage of the Lyceum Theatre. A young actress has been attacked, suffering from peculiar bite wounds to her neck, an event that announces a series of strange vampiric happenings and thrusts an unwitting Bram Stoker, hard-pressed acting manager of the Lyceum and aspiring future author of Dracula, into the limelight and the action. And I am definitely in a vampiric mood right now. This is the other book that Hannah sent me for my Full Moon subscription box, so I'm also going to be reading this one in May if I haven't read it by the time April ends. I'm pre-filming this video, so I may have read this by the time this comes up, I don't know, but if I haven't, it's on the May TBR. And that is my stack if it doesn't all collapse, but this is my stack for May, so it doesn't look too bad. I think it works out at about 100 odd pages a day, which feels absolutely doable, and yeah, it's a pretty good stack. I've got a murder mystery in here, I've got some high fantasy, I've got dystopian, I've got some retellings, I've got some badass female characters, I've got sci-fi. It's a nice sort of mix of things, so definitely excited to see what I'm going to think of all of these books. And that is the end of my May TBR Assemble. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me which book I should start with. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a dragon emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, as well as a link as well down below to my bookish Etsy store if you want to check that out and treat yourself to something bookish today. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!